Matty never gets sick of hearing the boys are back.
No, I
Life
hear it.
just didn't feel the same without
Anytime
it.
I hear it, like in the background of a sporting event or anything, I'm like, that's our theme song.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
our
it.
thing.
Back for the second half segment of the show, Matt. Leading off with the Premiership, there were some very interesting results in that league the past week.
Yeah, the weekend in the Premier League was fun. Let's just say that much. I think first of all the fact that Chelsea went and got 3 points away at Villa, and then Man City.
How's Chelsea doing
dropped
this year?
points.
They're doing all right, eh?
I think they're doing okay.
Yeah.
So whoever picked them,
Yeah,
obviously
it's probably pretty smart.
pretty
eh?
smart guy.
Probably also pretty good looking.
Probably. So no, I mean like Eden Hazard and Ivanovic scored for Chelsea in that win at Villa. Good away win. Villa's one of those places. Villa, if they're really good or really bad each year, it's always a tricky place to
tough
go
out,
win.
yeah.
It really is. It's a hard place to go get 3 points.
Chelsea scrapped for that too. I watched most of that game.
That second goal that Ivanovic won, that scored, great finish. But what the hell was the defender doing on the floor?
Yeah, it was
Like
a
kicking it
disaster.
in thin air. I don't know.
Just flailing
Just
about.
garbage.
The finish was class though.
Oh, it was a great finish though. Ivanovic can score, man. I tell you that much. And then you know Chelsea get the 3 points, and then Man City go and draw 1 at home with Hull. And
pulled
took a
it back late to get something.
92nd minute goal from
Milner on the
James
free kick,
Milner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
This is what-
Aguero smoked the bar too, just shortly.
Yeah, he did
before
like 10
that.
minutes
They
before.
could've
Yeah.
won,
That was a great touch and volley though.
Yeah, it was.
Milner scoring that. It always frustrates me when Milner scores because it means he's doing just enough to kick around in the England squad for a little longer. But
Not a fan, eh?
No, I've never been a fan of Milner. I don't know. I guess the other big result obviously was London Derby. Arsenal losing at Spurs. Harry Kane, man,
It's on fire.
Best player in the Premier League this year.
I don't know. Costa when he's healthy, but he's certainly in the discussion, which is incredible
But
considering
out of
his
nowhere,
experience
I
and
mean,
age.
if you ask a lot of people, did you know who Harry Kane was? I don't know, 9 months ago. A lot of people have been like, who? And now he's like, I mean, he's best English striker in the Premier League right now. There's no other way around it. I mean, I think we were talking about this off the air in between and beforehand over the phone and stuff that if Roy Hodgson doesn't call up this guy,
it's crazy.
he's a maniac.
Yeah.
He's easily the best player right now. My brother texted me and said a front four or
To me,
four
it's not just
strikers.
calling up. Like he has to start. Like
Well,
your future's now. Like get him in there. Get him
Right,
in the
because
fold.
like I said, my brother texted me. It was like England's 4 strikers right now are Kane, Rooney, Welbeck, and Sturridge. Like, geez, sign me up for some of that. That'd be pretty good. So yeah, I mean, Harry Kane doing his thing for Spurs.
Another greasy result
Go
for
ahead.
Man United.
Yeah, last minute,
Yeah.
Daley Blind got a last minute equalizer.
But
there at
man, do
West
they
Ham.
find a way. I was going to text you and be like, again, and then I saw the late one, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to say again for that. But
It's
they've
funny
been
though,
picking up
like-
results. With the strangest
I
one,
was
Matt, is
about
they
to
haven't
say,
lost in a while.
They
But
haven't
it
lost in
doesn't
a
feel
while.
great, though.
And I was actually talking to my brother about this because he's a United fan, and I was like, United, they seem to you think, oh, finally they're back on track. They win 5-6 games in a row, and
And then they
they
stub their
go
toe.
and
Yeah.
draw away at West Ham. I mean, they're 12 points back of Chelsea. I mean, they're not. It's going to take a miracle for them to win the league.
Yeah. They're going to have to sweep whatever head-to-heads they have left. With them.
Well, not just that, but you need Chelsea to probably lose
And
to
drop
some
some
garbage
points, yeah.
teams and fall out.
And
of
then
place
also
a
when
little.
Chelsea does on rare occasion do that, Man U needs max points. They
Right.
can't get a draw when Chelsea's
But
losing.
Chelsea right now are top with 56 points, and Man City are second with 49. And it was like that. I don't know what 8-9 games ago, and suddenly Man City clawed it back, went top for like a day, and now they're suddenly 7 points back behind again.
I feel like the Man City Hull City is a really funny result. I mean, the optimists will say glass half full. I think that's a huge opportunity lost for
100%. A home game. It doesn't matter.
There's games left, Matt, but this may be one where they say the turning point, down the line is the Premiership might have been lost on that result.
Well, yeah, I mean,
at home.
there's 14 games left in the year.
Yeah.
So if you add 2 more points to City's total, they're 5 points behind Chelsea. I'm not sure if they play each other again. I'm sure they do. So you get a chance to maybe cut the deficit there, and then other results. Chelsea aren't going to win their last 14 games.
No,
they're going to drop a few points somewhere. So,
but you got to think they're going to probably win at least 10.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
doesn't leave the window open very much.
No, not at all. And also in the Premier League as well, Southampton are still third, man.
I can't believe that.
They just keep doing it.
Like they seem like a solid, 8, 9, 10 team to me at the start of the season, and they're there. Like
1-0 away when
ahead
QPR.
of United, Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool. How many people would have said that?
Not many. The thing is, I'd be curious to see if they can hang on to that. I mean, can you imagine Southampton in the Champions League next year?
I'd like to see it.
I'd like to see it
change
too.
up. Yeah.
But I still imagine at some point Spurs or Arsenal. I don't think Liverpool might not quite make it, but they'll probably leapfrog them at some point.
Spurs and Arsenal. I'm not really a fan of any particular team in the Premiership. Like I just like good soccer, and I kind of really look what's happening in the top 5-6 in the table each year. Tottenham and Arsenal are teams that just frustrate me, Matt. I've said it to you too back when we had our Champions League discussion. Also, I mentioned about Liverpool as well as another team that frustrates me, and they seem to underwhelm a lot. Arsenal and Tottenham, I don't know. I can't see them getting much higher than they are unless maybe Southampton starts dropping a little bit. I think United stays ahead of all three of those teams.
Yeah, I do too. I think United will end up third in the table.
I was going to say Chelsea, City, United 1, 2, 3, and then we'll see.
After that, pick them out of the hat, really.
The interesting one will be, can United catch City?
Yeah, they're only 5 points behind.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It'd be interesting.
Anyway. Yeah, but Premier League is looking fun, and Leicester, QPR, and Hull are in the relegation zone. They all pretty much suck, to be honest. I mean, they're not. They're not. Yeah,
Leicester
good.
And QPR.
Leicester
really
and QPR are
right
down.
now.
I mean, Leicester are bottom with 17 points, and Burnley are the safe team in 17th with 21 points, and then you got 22, 23, 24, 26 points up to 13th, and then even Everton with 27 points in 12th. They're not clear.
No, they're not far clear, but it's hard to envision. It seems ridiculous that, Leicester's like 4 points back with a good 14, 15 games left in the season.
Yeah.
It almost seems insurmountable to me, which is
insane. It's weird. And they're only
like
4 points back, as you say. I mean,
like I think Hull could sneak out of there. I think they have the quality to get out. Maybe Burnley will drop.
Curious to see what Villa do. If Villa managed. I mean, Villa are 16 with 22 points, a couple of points clear. Can they stay up? I don't know. It's gonna be fun though. Both ends of the table, middle of the table, like West Ham, Swansea, Stoke. You're just going nowhere. You're not going to go up or down. It's just a battle for a little bit of money, basically.
Yeah, it's purgatory. It's not that good, but it's not that bad.
It's better than being relegated.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah.
La Liga are up. Big result. Biggest game of the weekend was Atletico and Real Madrid.
Oh, it wasn't even competitive, man.
No, it was awful.
Atletico
just an absolute
destroyed them.
Smashing.
As I was saying before the show, I'm going to attribute that to lack of Luka Modric, and then as you said, but they've won a lot of games in a row.
But Real Madrid won a 26-game winning streak.
But this
while
is
he was
also
out
the
injured.
first game scoreless for Real Madrid, and no Modric in the house. So
well, that's picking up bones there.
Where's our creative fulcrum there?
And also in that game, well, actually not in that game.
Well, Rodriguez being out too, though.
Is out now.
Yeah, that's
broken foot.
Both of those guys being out. I know Real's deep, but that hurts up the middle of the park.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's two really creative guys who are out of the league and out of the lineup. And obviously they were without Ronaldo for 2 games after his suspension, but he was back for this Atletico game. But
it's such an emphasis now on even more so Ronaldo and Bale providing that width now.
Right,
you're not having
and
that
Benzema
same threat
up
up the middle of the park. Yeah,
but I mean, Atletico have both Real Madrid and Barcelona's number.
Yeah,
like they haven't. Real Madrid and Barcelona haven't beaten Atletico now in like combined like 7 or 8 games. It's been a while because remember like Atletico drew at Barcelona in the last game of the season to win the league last year.
But Atletico's more susceptible to dropping those not stupid games,
but
like
games
they should have.
Almeria and Sociedad and
teams
Bilbao.
They should be.
Yeah, they have this weird. I mean, yeah,
they get up for the big teams.
They do, but like the good thing about La Liga now, it is a 3-horse race every year. Atletico are here to stay.
I like. I think Simeone's. I guess attitude, for lack of better words, but his leadership, his leadership style. I think he gets those guys dialed in for the big games. I really
100%.
see them kind of playing the we've taken care of things in the Spanish league, and we're almost the forgotten sister in the equation here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well said. And Barcelona, they won 5-2 at Athletic Bilbao.
This one's going down to the wire in the Spanish league.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Madrid 54 points, Barca 53, and Atletico 50.
And then a big 6-point gap from Valencia in 4th, too.
Right. Valencia and Sevilla. It's kind of nice. It's nice to see Valencia back up there competing a little more. But yeah, you're right. It is a 3-horse race. There's no question about that. Barcelona looked really good against Athletic yesterday. I took in the highlights. Messi was pretty good, so that's which isn't really surprising, right? So
hard for you to admit that, I know, since you're such a pro Ronaldo guy.
I am. I mean, I am Ronaldo, but
yeah.
Messi is obviously second best player in the world, in my opinion. I think you share the same sentiment, don't you?
Yeah, I just think that Messi maybe needs the quote-unquote perfect system a little more than Cristiano does.
Right.
I think that Ronaldo's a little bit more of a game breaker, a little bit more adaptable, a little bit more mercurial too, though. I think Messi's a little bit more consistent. I call them a 1A and 1B.
I won't
call
agree,
them a 1 and 2.
If I was still getting picked, I'd still take Ronaldo every day. But yeah, I mean, that's, scoring 5 goals away from home against Athletic Bilbao, it's no, I mean, Athletic are 13th in the table. They're not great, but
they're not that level.
They're not
beating,
that bad.
Yeah.
So,
how about the Bundesliga, Matty? What's caught your eye in that one?
Borussia Dortmund, baby, they finally won. in case you've been living under a rock and haven't been following.
So you went with Borussia Dortmund, not Paderborn Köln, no?
No. You remember when the start of the year and Paderborn were like second of the table?
And it was so funny.
Nope. No, they are now 15th.
Some of the German teams Matt's able to say, and then Paderborn was always like his mouth was falling down the stairs when he went to try to name it.
But anyway, I mean, Dortmund, their season has been incredible. It's been probably, I think, the biggest story in Europe, like across every league. The fact that Dortmund, were in the Champions League. They won the league recently, like Champions League final.
You had them a dark horse for the Bundesliga.
Of course, yeah. I don't even class them as a dark horse. I mean, I think Bayern and Dortmund were the two best teams going into the year.
Yeah.
And Dortmund, they've won 5 of their 20 games this year. Like, it's mind-boggling. They haven't fired the manager. They still got Marco Reus and Gundogan and Aubameyang, like Mats Hummels. They haven't lost really anyone. If they have some injuries. But to be 16... Anyway.
Yeah, it's rough.
They finally won. They won 3-0 away at Freiburg, who were actually 17th in the table. So it was actually a bottom-of-the-table match. So
Matt,
really
I got to pimp my pick a little bit here that I said was...
Bayern Munich?
They're going to... No, not Bayern Munich. That I thought would stay upper top of the table. Wolfsburg.
Second in the table.
They've just been right there.
Well, you know what it is,
performing.
Right? So Lord Nicholas Bentner. The legend.
Lord Nicholas Bentner.
But, I mean... Wolfsburg look really good.
They just get the results, however they need to get them.
They won 3-0 at the weekend against Hoffenheim. That's a good home win. Kevin De Bruyne,
Champions League spot feels pretty safe, I think.
Wow,
There's ways to go.
They're 8 points behind Bayern, but they're also 7 points clear of third place.
They're comfortably in second. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, they've looked really good. Van Dost, the other striker for them, has been really, really good. Now they got Schürrle as well. So yeah, Wolfsburg, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. I'm sure Dortmund are going to stay up. But it's funny that we have to kind of, at some extent, consider the fact that Dortmund might be relegated, which is, to me, is mind-boggling to even consider that. You look at United last year. They had an awful year, and they finished, 7th still?
Yeah.
And you think Dortmund now having an awful year, and they're 16th. They're in the relegation zone.
Quick side note, too, on a late transfer, Matty, actually. Ivica Olic left Wolfsburg for Hamburg. So now it's just Ivan Perisic as the lone Croat standing in Wolfsburg. Olic just had a nice little career in Germany, actually. He scored
he's had a good career
for Bayern in that one Champions League run they had. I can't remember who they lost to. Maybe it was Porto in the finals. Olic, I know, led the tournament in Champions League tournament in goals that year. He really, and at his age, at 36, I think he is now, maybe 37, to still be performing at the level. I'm surprised, even as a fan of his, that he's still going. He's very much a fitness freak, though, and always dedicated to the cause.
When I saw his transfer go through, I was like, I knew he was playing in Germany still. And I figured, he'd probably be, I don't know, just not goofing around, but, doing his thing every now and then. And I was like, man, he's still scoring goals.
Scores goals, I know.
He doesn't hesitate hang back. Also in the Bundesliga, like I said, Schalke are third. The big surprise, I think, in Bundesliga this year, apart from the fact that Dortmund just, for some reason, are awful, is Augsburg are fourth.
And Mönchengladbach.
You said it right. You got it right. I was going to ask you, Rob, who's in 5th place, and it is Mönchengladbach. And also the other team in 6th is Bayer Leverkusen. I know they should be better than that, but it is what it is. Werder Bremen beat them 2-1 at the weekend, and Werder in 8th. And Werder have had a really awkward season as well. So
I guess the $1 million thing to watch going forward: can Dortmund pass Paderborn? That's the big question.
Is that our big question? 1 point difference.
Stunningly in Paderborn's favor.
I think it's time to move to Serie A.
Yeah, Serie A, Matty. The last of the big four. We had Juve 3, Milan 1.
Yeah, well, Juve just keep winning. Like Roma, I think when we went off the air a while back, obviously before we took our hiatus for a little bit, Juve and Roma were pretty much level pegging. The gap's 7 points now.
Yeah, it's widened.
And the last couple of times,
Napoli's closer to Roma now than
Roma to Juve. Yeah. Every time Juve drew Juve have drawn a couple of games. They've drawn 5 games this year, and Roma have drawn 7. It seems every time Juve drew, Roma went and drew as well.
Yeah, they just made up ground.
They're not making ground on them, and like I said, they're 7 points behind now with halfway through the season. Well, yeah, halfway through the year, a little over halfway. And yeah, Juve won. You said against Milan. Tevez, Bonucci, and Morata scored, and Roma won 2-1 away at. I have it here. Cagliari. So good away win.
The Roma-Juve situation actually is very similar to me to City-Chelsea.
Right.
Like, you need to be able to be collecting max points. The odd time the Juves or the Chelseas, stub their toe a bit here if you're going to close the gap at all. And neither side has really been able to do that.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like you said, the gap is actually 7 points for both teams.
Yeah.
But so you need a couple of losses and you to win a game.
Max points, yeah.
Juve beat Roma, as we alluded to last, one of our shows before we went off. And like you said, Napoli are closing in on Roma. I always enjoy watching Napoli. They have some really good players. Like Hamsik is still a phenomenal player, and Higuain is getting it done still.
Ivan Strinic from Dnipro came over.
He did
in the transfer window.
I like that signing a lot. Yeah. I like that signing a lot.
He doesn't get forward with the best technical skill, but he's very strong and very quick, and he's a good defender. I do like him, and I think he'll do well in Italy as well.
Inter Milan beat Palermo 3-0. Freddie Guain scored, and Icardi scored a brace. Inter Milan are hanging in 9th place, though.
There's a lot of teams in these leagues that remind you of other teams. Like Inter's kind of meandering about, almost Liverpool-esque kind of. Like they're right there.
But the big difference, though, is that Inter Milan have a bunch of Serie A titles, and Liverpool have no Premier League titles.
Fair point. Yeah.
And same goes for AC Milan, right? I mean, Inter and AC are 9th and 10th, and actually they have the exact. Looking at this, they've got it here, right here.
Even the goals.
They've played 22 games.
Almost the goals.
Inter Milan and AC have played 22 games, have won 7, drawn 8, lost 7. They've both conceded 29 goals, and Inter have scored 33 goals, and Milan have scored 32. That's kind of spooky.
Yeah, Inter's just way better, obviously.
Well, obviously. They scored 33 goals and not 32. I mean, that's common sense, right?
Matty, before we go off the air, the last few minutes of the show, we are introducing a new segment that we have aptly called our Studs and Duds, which is basically the team or player, that we thought did exceptionally or did very poor. Matt, my stud, no question, Atletico Madrid for steamrolling Real 4-0. I have an interesting statistic here for you from that game. Shots for Atletico, 17, Real 4. This one's more telling. On target, 8 for Atletico, 1 for Real.
Yeah, you don't score many goals when you
have one shot on target.
Having said that, 8 on target of 17 isn't a very good ratio. That's less than 50%.
Better than 1 out of 4.
Well, that's also better. That is touche, well played.
Okay, you can one up my stud. What's your stud for the week?
My stud is Borussia Dortmund. Not the fact of where they are in the table, but just
ridiculous.
But just the fact of how important it was to win this weekend. Against a team who was above them in the table going into the game, to beat them comfortably. Marco Reus scored twice. Aubameyang scored a pair. It was a big result. They needed that. So that's my stud for the week.
My dud, Matty, is Man City. I'm looking at this more as, I guess, a glass half empty, even though they did, quote unquote, steal a point late. Aguero, like as we mentioned earlier, hit the bar. Could have maybe had Milner's goal be the winner, but it's a draw to me. Like, for example, I was debating between United. If United lost, I would have made them my dud for sure. But I think the United draw, I felt a little bit better about their draw than City's relative to where they are in the table.
Right.
For me, big lost opportunity for City, and I think one that they may rue down the line for costing them a shot at the Premiership title this season.
Yeah, and my dud is Bayer Leverkusen. Losing 2-1 away at Werder Bremen. It's not the fact it's funny. The Dortmund one I suggested was their result this weekend, but the Bayer Leverkusen one is just more of their season because we've been off the air for a little bit. Just losing to teams who are below them in the table. Werder Bremen are one of those teams who you kind of just respect every week. They are good. They've been at the top of the table for many years. But they just, I don't know, Bayer Leverkusen, the start of the season when they beat Dortmund, if you remember the first game of the year, 2-0, and they hung around for the first 5-6 weeks with Bayern Munich, and then they just plummeted. So that's my dud for the week.
Matty, some quick fixtures to keep our eye on for the listeners.
Yeah, there's no big game. There's no, I don't know, like Real Madrid, Atletico, or Barcelona.
Must-see TV.
None of that. I think the biggest game in Europe this week is actually midweek. It's Liverpool and Spurs. They play Tuesday night. The Premier League is on a Tuesday-Wednesday schedule this week because the FA Cup is this weekend. Chelsea play Everton. I guess it's a pretty big game as well to some extent.
I feel like Leverkusen and Wolfsburg may be a good one in the Bundesliga.
Like you say, Leverkusen at home, Wolfsburg second in the table. Werder Bremen play Augsburg. Be curious to see what Augsburg can do there, especially after Werder won at the weekend. Bayern play Hamburg. More of two names that we're familiar with being contenders in the Bundesliga.
Some of the big teams too, Matty. City's going against Stoke. We got Chelsea and Everton, Southampton, West Ham. And Bayern, Hamburg, you imagine Bayern will be fairly comfortable there.
Should do, yeah. Real Madrid playing Deportivo, Barcelona playing Levante, and in Italy, Roma play Parma, and Udinese play Lazio.
Yeah, the controversy ladled Parma actually these days with their financial situation. So.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. The Christian Rodriguez in my plug again my transfer story. He joined Parma on loan from Atletico, and he admitted he got there and he didn't know the players weren't being paid.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
So in the world of the internet age, everyone connected, not quite for Rodriguez. Huh?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's good to be back, Rob.
It is good to be back. It's been a long time coming, pun intended. But
make sure you check out the website and follow us on Twitter. and interact with us and everything. Give us a follow, and yeah.
We're back in action now. Same bad time, same bad channel. Thank you for listening. Footy Roundup. Robbie and Matt signing off.